Operation Desert Storm. It's the newest Toontown private server. Despite not having the word Toontown in its name, unlike the rest of them, Toontown Rewritten, Toontown Reborn, Toontown Genesis, other cliche stuff like that. But despite that, despite not having Toontown in its name, could it be the best Toontown private server? Because it's definitely impressed me so far, despite it only being out for a week or so. It has not been long at all that this game has been out, but it has managed to impress me and a lot of other people that have tried it. And it just does a lot of things right that a lot of other private servers, rewritten included, did very wrong. And it's definitely a breath of fresh air so far. Now, I don't know exactly how long this game has been in development for, but I heard that it's actually been in development for a while now. But we're just now finding out about it, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because if you let people know of your development when you just start, then you're going to feel a lot of pressure from the community to get it up and running, and you might try to make deadlines for yourself, and that'll only stress you out more. But if what it if this server actually just stayed under the radar while they worked on the early game, then that's very smart, because they knew that they could take their time because they didn't have a community of hundreds of people or thousands of people on their back trying to rush them. So they could just take their time, and that definitely paid off, because considering the small amount of time the game's been out, it runs remarkably well. If you think back to the early days of Toontown Rewritten and even Toontown Infinite, those games ran like trash for a while. Toontown Rewritten, the alpha days, game was unplayable garbage. Anybody that was around in alpha in the early beta days with the beta keys and whatnot, the game was borderline unplayable 24/7. It was bad. It was bad for a long time. But this game, now it's not perfect. There are occasional district resets and you will crash, but you won't crash to the point where you can't even do anything. Me and most people that I play with, they'll crash maybe every 45 minutes to an hour, and obviously that as time goes on that needs to be taken care of. But when you compare that to the first week or two of Rewritten and Infinite's lifespan, it's amazing that it runs that well. And on top of that, the loading screens and everything, like the load times in the game, oh, they're great. I remember Toontown Rewritten's load screens were abysmal when the game first came out. You'd spend minutes on a loading screen no matter where you were. If you were just going through a tunnel, if you're going to a street on a playground, oh, it was awful. But ODS, the load screens, those definitely aren't a problem. Load times aren't a problem at all in this game. And it looks really good. The more frames have been added to the game. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it runs at 60 frames per second right now, and it looks really good. It looks so much smoother than Toontown Online or any of the private servers. As far as Toontown goes, it's definitely eye candy. Now, probably the biggest feature it has to offer, this is the big thing, because this game actually adds new content that we actually want, instead of the stuff Toontown Rewritten gives us, like Toonfest and other tiny stuff that we don't really care about. Nah, this game, it gave us new cogs right off the bat. We get new cogs called tech bots, and they have been pretty well integrated into the other cogs, the cog society. They've been pretty well integrated, but yeah, they have been pretty well integrated but probably the biggest problem is trying to tweak how the cogs are divided up among the streets because on a lot of streets there will be 0% tech bots or a very minimal amount of tech bots so far. But and then again, I haven't been to every single playground yet because my tune right now is just finished up Donald's Dock, and for the most part, tech bots are pretty rare, but it could be different in other streets. And what makes the tech bots so interesting is that they will always get their first turn. They will always get the first turn during battle. So when you say fight, when you run up to a tech bot on the street, your gag screen will come up as always. You'll pick your gag, but they get to attack first. So that's a very interesting twist on the battle system there. And I imagine that whenever fighting tech bots at near the end of the game, in a perhaps a boss battle when you have a row of level 12 tech bots, that sounds pretty difficult, to be honest, because that means you're basically always going to get hit. So I'm not sure how we're going to handle that, but it definitely sounds like quite the challenge. And now something that's specific to all cogs is all cogs now have special abilities, which are cog up, which allows them to heal themselves and heal each other, which that can be a pain. Sound immunity, that's the big one. That's the really big one. So far, it seems that in a battle, on every second turn, the cogs will use sound immunity, which renders your sound useless. So this basically means that spamming sound in boss battles, it won't be possible anymore. You'll actually have to use other gags even in the early part of it. And I think that's definitely a good thing because it doesn't render sound useless at all. I'm glad they did something like this instead of nerfing sound, because I feel like if they nerfed sound's damage, they would ultimately make sound kind of useless. But this way, it's still good, but not brain dead like it is in Rewritten and in Toontown Online. So I think that was a good move. Another thing is, this is one of the most dangerous ones, is Toons Miss. Now, it doesn't make the tunes automatically miss, but it lowers the tune's accuracy. And this is really dangerous because everything becomes riskier. In this situation, if tunes still have a lot of sound, then I recommend trying the sound because it's still your best bet because it has the highest accuracy. But luring in this situation seems like a really, really dangerous idea. Another dangerous one is cog power up. Now in the early game this probably won't be an issue, but let's just think about a level 11 Mingler that uses cog power up and then hits you with a paradigm shift. That doesn't sound fun. I don't know how much damage that'll do, but it'll be more than their usual 24, and it's gonna hurt a lot. So that'll definitely be a more relevant thing in the boss battles. Another really dangerous one is Toon Power Down, which will cut our damage down. And I feel like luring and maybe tuning up is probably the best thing to do in this situation because I don't think sounding is a good idea because it'll definitely change the foghorn combinations because everything will be weakened. And it's only for one turn, so it doesn't make sense to have to waste way more sound taking out the cogs in this turn. So I think being passive during this phase is definitely the better idea. I don't know I don't know exactly how much it cuts the damage down. I know it cuts a cream pie slice from 17 to 14, but I don't know if there's a specific algorithm for it or what. But as the game develops and as we figure out how it works, then we'll probably figure out the best strategy to use when Toon Power Down becomes a thing. And Cogs Hit. Cogs Hit is a thing. I don't know if it increases their accuracy or if it guarantees a hit. But that's also dangerous because if you have some Hollywoods or Minglers and they use Cogs Hit, then they'll just line up a bunch of power trips and paradigm shifts and all the team members will get hit by it. So there are very, very dangerous repercussions for messing up or having gags missed now with the whole Cogs power up and Cogs hit. So we will definitely be punished for our mistakes a lot harder than we're used to, which I think is a good thing. Now, the thing about all these special abilities, they will always be used before we can use our gags. We will get a when we are on the gag screen, we will get a warning of what special ability they're about to use, and then we'll pick our gags, and then they'll use the ability, and then we'll attack, and then they'll attack. So it's not like you can see sound immunity inbound and then use sound before they can use it, because if you click sound, then they get to use, then they're immune to sound before you strike. So you at least get a warning, but their ability will take effect before we get to attack. So that's something to keep in mind. Now something good that really also changes up strategy is, which something that I really like, because I feel like this is definitely something that's present in more RPGs, is every cog is weak to a specific gag. Say, a flunky is weak to a $1 bill, and no lie, I'm pretty sure I didn't know if it pumped up the accuracy or added an extra turn, but I'm pretty sure it pumps up the accuracy, because when I first got my $1 bill, I bought 10 of them, and I used all 10 on flunkies, and all of them hit. All of them. And same thing for the little magnet on the TechBot Code Monkeys and $5 bills on Penny Pinchers. They all hit. So, tip for training lore, go find the cog that gag is strong against, and it's going to be an easy time. It will be a very easy time, because it definitely gives it an accuracy boost. And then for all the other gags, it'll give it damage boosts. Say, wedding cakes against Hollywoods. I'm pretty sure if you lure a row of level 12 Hollywoods and just a wedding cake alone, I'm pretty sure it'll take them out, because they're very weak against the gag. It'll do a lot more damage. And I'm pretty sure that, other than the tech bots, of course, because they're new and exclusive to the server, I'm pretty sure that these weaknesses to the cogs are based off the original trading cards, which I think is a nice touch, because I felt like it was kind of weird how there were weaknesses on the trading cards, but they weren't actually in game. So I feel like the ODS team definitely put that piece of trivia to very good use in the game, and definitely made it more like a regular RPG. Now, there's also a new playground. It's called Forest's End, and it can be accessed via the previously under construction tunnel in Chippendales. Also, putting what was already in the game to good use. They saw that there were that under construction sign, that tunnel that never got used, so they figured, hey, why not? Let's use that for our new playground. And it's called Forest's End. There aren't any streets yet, but I think it's heavily implied that the playground may offer tasks, or at least some form of content in the future, because it has everything another playground would have. It has a gag shop, trolley games, pet shop, paint shop, which paint shops are new, where you can go to have your tune color change, which that's pretty cool. And it has fishing docks as well. So it basically has everything another normal playground would have besides streets, but I'm sure that those will come soon. And what I'm hoping is that this playground will have some new toon tasks involving the tech bots, because like I said, I've finished Donald's Dock, and that's all I've played up to, but this is the one gripe I have about the server. The tasks are still the same. They haven't changed the tasks at all, which means there are no tasks involving tech bots. So I hope Forest's End, whenever it gets tasks, if it gets tasks, I hope that it will have some tasks involving the tech bots, because that would be pretty cool. If you're gonna have a new cog, you should definitely integrate some tasks having to do with them into the game. Another addition to the game is that there is a new street in Donald's Dreamland on top of the pillow. So going onto the pillow is now possible without glitching, and you're actually supposed to go on it, and it's called Bedtime Boulevard, which I think that's a very good name. Definitely something that I'm sure Disney would come up with if they still ran Toontown. And something interestingly enough, at the end of the street is a COG HQ tunnel, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be TechBot HQ, but for now it's inaccessible, and if you try to go into the tunnel, you'll just crash. It looks like it basically looks like a any other um, COG HQ tunnel, but who knows? Maybe that it could be just a placeholder, and they'll make a custom tunnel because it also doesn't say TechBot HQ right now. It just says warning to COG HQ. So I don't think TechBot HQ definitely still seems to be in the works, but it's cool, a little teaser right there to show us that, hey guys, I know that Toontown players have been dying for a new COG HQ forever, and we've got your back, you know, which I'm super excited about. I really want to experience a new COG HQ because I know that's something we've all been dying for a very long time. It's a new boss battle, which I'm sure they'll come up with something very nice. And something really cool is you can skip trolley games, and there are very many I don't like, such as Jungle Vines. I think that game is awful. I think the Toon Slingshot is awful. There are a lot of games that I just do not want to play. Riding the trolley isn't really something I do, but in the early game, it is kind of necessary at times. So if I have to ride the trolley, then I don't want to be playing crap like Toon Memory Game and Toon Slingshot. I just don't want to mess with that. Now, this is a big one. This is one that makes me, it inclines me to let the task thing about them all still being the same slide a little bit. Is for a small jelly bean fee, you can teleport to the shopkeepers for your tasks. Say you get Professor Wiggles' House of Giggles at the Toon HQ. You go to Toon HQ, get the task. You open up your task sections, and there's a teleport button. You just teleport straight to Wiggles, and then he tells you to go to someone else, and you just teleport there, and it makes fetch quest toon tasks, it makes them so much faster. You can tasks that previously took like 15 to 20 minutes, oh my goodness, you cut the time off of them like crazy. It's really amazing. But the thing is, the fee goes up as you move playgrounds. In Toontown Central, it's only 5 jelly beans per teleport. In Donald's Dock, it's 15. In Daisy Gardens, it's 30. Other than that, I'm not sure about the future playgrounds, but obviously it continues to go up. So I definitely am going to probably save my jelly beans and use them sparingly because I really enjoy being able to just teleport to the shopkeepers instead of doing a bunch of pointless walking. This feature is probably going to make House of Z's a breeze, because House of Z's was that task without the teleport feature. That task is awful. I cannot stand that task. And this next feature. I don't know about this feature. It's kind of weird, but I don't know how many of you are familiar with Undertale, but it's quite the popular game. So I'm sure that most of you are familiar with it, but in battles, sometimes at random moments after you pick your gags, this Undertale minigame will come up, and it's like in the games, it's just a bullet hell, which you are a heart or the soul, and you just dodge the gears. There's specific ways to dodge them depending on the game, but you will lose laugh every time you get hit by a gear, so it is in your best interest to do your best in these games. And if you end up not getting hit at all, then you'll get some jelly beans, which I think is a pretty nice plus. But these games only last a few seconds, but I don't know about them. It's a weird addition. It also plays it seems very out of place because it's Toontown, and then you have this random Undertale minigame come up and it's playing Undertale music. So I don't know. I mean, obviously I enjoy the reward. I like free jelly beans. It's always nice. Win a 10-second minigame, get 80 jelly beans or something. That's pretty cool. But I don't know. It's kind of iffy. It seems very out of place, but it's not a huge deal. Though, it could be a huge deal because I don't know if these come up in boss battles, but what if someone's doing a one lap VP solo or something and they're in the cog round or the Skelecog round of the VP and they get the Undertale mini game and they end up dying to the Undertale mini game? I don't know. That means that if you want to do a one lap solo, you better get good at these Undertale mini games if they do show up in boss battles, because that is definitely something that can ruin your run. Another thing I like is True Friend Chat is back. You can, just like in the old days, you can have your closest friends' names be in blue, which is one of the things I'm most happy about. And it doesn't work in Whisper for whatever reason. It's still stuff is still censored when you whisper, but it seems that when you're actually in each other's presence, anything goes, because some of my true friends have cursed and it's not been blocked. I don't know if the developers are letting that slide, because I wonder if they're being really lenient with true friends and letting you say whatever you want or what. I don't know if they're actually going to get banned or something, but I don't know. It seems pretty lenient so far, which I kind of like. Now, the thing that there's a new tutorial. The old tutorial has been completely replaced. It is still optional, but I recommend your first playthrough you see it for yourself and play through it, because it's actually really, really interesting. It adds some story to the game, which I know story isn't a huge deal, but I'll let it slide because unlike Toontown Rewritten, this game is, having their story while also putting in awesome content, so awesome new content, so I can let it slide, and it's genuinely interesting. So I recommend doing the tutorial of the game on your first playthrough at the very least. There's a new factory. Now, the thing about this is it doesn't replace the old factory, but it's optional. You can do the regular front and side entrance, and now there's a fatal factory, which means the cogs levels are much higher. And the cogs, I haven't actually done it, but I've seen a few clips of it, and this factory is very hard. There are level 12s in here and everything, and this factory is definitely fatal. I don't know what the reward for doing it is. Maybe more merits, because higher cogs, so maybe you can knock your merits out sooner. And if you have a group of 4 powerful tunes, then I can definitely see it being worth your trouble. And with the whole special cog abilities, I can actually see it being pretty fun and pretty challenging. So I think that's definitely a pretty cool feature for people that want a challenge. And, bigger cogs, bigger merits, so an actual incentive to go in there. Now, I don't know if any boss battles have changed or anything, because I have not been in a boss battle. I don't know if any group has yet, but I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know if they've been changed or not. But yeah, they have, because by default they're changed because of the special cog abilities. So the cog rounds will definitely be a lot different, and you'll actually have to be a lot more methodical instead of just choosing Foghorn and Elephant Trunk the entire time. But other than that, I don't know if the boss battles have been tampered with in the slightest. Fishing has been changed somewhat. Your rod now has a durability. It starts out with 100 durability points, and every time you cast it, it loses a durability point. And all you have to do is you have to take it to the fisherman, and he'll repair it for 10 jelly beans. Well, that's the twig rod anyway. I don't know if he still repairs it for the same price for higher rods. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure it'll get higher. Now, I don't know what the point of this was. Maybe to add in another generic RPG feature, but I guess it's okay, but it definitely doesn't really add anything to the game. And there's also a new way to reel your bait in, or reel your fish in. You'll cast it like normal, and then when the fish is close enough for you to get it, you just right click and you reel it in automatically. You just got to be careful with this, and you have to be sure that you can reel it in, because if you can't actually reel it in, then you'll end up you reeling it in anyway with nothing, and you'll have just spent that jelly bean and durability point for nothing. So be careful with that. Another thing is there are achievements now, and there are a lot of them actually, which is really cool. There are some silly ones, like there's Netflix and chill, which says buy a TV, and have I feel like having that reference in a Toontown private server, I feel like that's a little extra, but that's just me. But other than that, it seems pretty cool, and it kind of implies that we Toons are in the military, in the Toontown military in this game, because there are a bunch of achievements. Like one of the first achievements is private, which is defeat like a small amount of cogs, and then I think one of the last achievements is like major or something, and you have to defeat a lot of cogs for that. General or major or sergeant or something like that. It's some high officer rank. And then when you think about that and the name of the game, Operation Desert Storm, it definitely applies that Toons are in the military, the Toontown military, which I guess is pretty cool. But other than that, it has a lot of other cool achievements. It has solo a VP and solo any other boss, and then the last one is called Savior of Toontown. It doesn't specify what it is yet. It just has a question mark, which that probably has something to do. That definitely has something to do with either the tech bots or maybe the chairman or whatever the big boss at the end of the game will be. But that'll definitely be interesting to find out what that is. They're definitely doing a good job of teasing us having Forest's End available, but there are no tasks or anything yet, and then having the tunnel to TechBot HQ, but nothing there yet. So they're definitely teasing us and making it known that there will be future content, future areas, because that's what we really want. Because yeah, okay, good job adding new cogs and balancing out the battle system somewhat, but what we really want is a new area that's fleshed out and has stuff to do, which it looks like that's what they are trying to give us at some point. So, and another good thing that back in the day Frizzy Dog and Pop talked about that Toons need to have is a statistics page. It has stuff like cogs defeated, it has even VP soloed, it has basically everything you can think of that you would need to keep track of. So that's definitely very useful. You'll be able to keep track of just how many cogs you've defeated, how many VPs you've beaten, and all that, and how many flowers you've picked even, and jelly beans earned, and all that. So it's definitely quite the useful page for keeping track of your Toons milestones. So definitely definitely a very, very fleshed out game. Now, the problem I have, or the problem I can see this game having is, can it last? Other than Toontown Rewritten, what server has actually been able to last? Because any server that has tried to, make their way into the whole server thing and try to get an active player base has ultimately failed. Probably the second most successful server was Toontown Infinite, and they didn't even come close to Toontown Rewritten's player base, because Toontown Rewritten has had 5 or 6,000 players on it once, and I know Infinite, I think its peak was maybe 900, so nothing has ever come close to even touching Rewritten. But I feel like Desert Storm, I feel like it's different. I feel like they're different. They're handling the server and the release. I feel like they're handling it better than I've seen any other server handle it, because like I said, I feel like they released to the public when the game was actually ready for the public. Because like I said, it's not perfect by any means. It has its problems, but it is completely playable. It's not unplayable trash like Rewritten and Infinite were for a long time when they came out. They actually got it ready for the public release, and they put out a product that was playable and enjoyable to the public. So I feel like that's a good sign of how they're managing themselves and managing the game. But can they attract enough players? Now, the player base has been growing. It's about, when on a good day, they maybe have about 200 players on, which is still nothing compared to Rewritten, but it's still growing. But I really think that people need to give this server a chance. If you are a Rewritten player and the game has become stale to you and you're tired of it, I recommend giving Desert Storm a try because it's something that's different. It's still Toontown, really. It's still Toontown at its core, but the battle system is quite different, and there are new cogs, and the tasks are a lot less grindy because of the teleport button. So I think that rewritten players that are sick of how stale that game is, I think they should definitely give Desert Storm a try because it's something different for a change. It is definitely a breath of fresh air. So if you're watching this, then let it be known that I recommend this game to any Toontown player because it's really nice to get on a Toontown server and finally see something different for a change. And, new cogs, the battle system is different. This is stuff that we've been dying for since Toontown Online's later years. Ever since Boss Fight HQ, we were just dying for something different, and now this game is finally giving us something different. So I really, really recommend that all of you at least give the server a try because it is really something special so far. And I would hate to see it go under like every other server besides Rewritten. I would hate to see it falter because nobody wants to play it and it's a ghost town. Because it would definitely be a big, big waste if this game went under early because I think this is something special. This is something that Toontown players have been dreaming about for years. This is something that we have been wanting forever. And finally someone's giving it to us. I really don't like Rewritten's direction right now. There is no sign of any kind of new content coming soon, and we've already been over that. Me, Speria, and I both, we've already been over the fact that there might not ever be any new relevant content in Toontown Rewritten. So, I don't know. I just don't like where that game is going. They're not giving us anything good. They're not giving us anything fresh. Toontown Rewritten is just stale. Toontown Rewritten is basically just Toontown Online. They are just continuing Disney's trend of, leaving it the same and tweaking it just a tiny bit, but nothing else. No actual relevant content, nothing that people actually want. I've been over Toonfest and the garbage elections, and I've just kind of lost faith in them ever bringing us some really good content. But now Desert Storm. I mean, it's this. They're actually giving us stuff that we would actually want. And something else that they have over Rewritten, all the HQs are out. Everything is out. Everything that the original game was out. Dude, we have doodles. There are doodles in Desert Storm. Rewritten doesn't have doodles. Where's Rewritten's doodles? Their doodles have been busted forever. They haven't brought us doodles yet. But Desert Storm, doodles are here and they actually work. So I think that speaks volumes about how much more competent they are than Rewritten and how much more willing they are to actually give us good content. So, again, for the last time, give Desert Storm a try. Even if you are the most loyal Rewritten supporter, you owe it to yourself to give Desert Storm a try because they have really, really started something special, and I really don't want to see it go to waste. I want it to live up to its potential, and I want the developers of the game to see what they had in mind to the end. That's it for me. Okay. One more time. That's it for now. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.